Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Tashana. Let's get into this. Hi, guys. I hope all is well. I hope y'all are doing well. Today, we are going to be discussing spiritual infections and diseases. Now, we've had the discussion of molestation yesterday and how those spirits leave deposits, and those deposits are actually diseases or infections. Now, there is a distinction, just like in the human body. We can pick up illnesses in our spirit, right, and pass them on. Now, with the spirit of molestation, right, these deposits or residue, if you will, that gets left behind are spirits like depression, suicidal, promiscuity, and things like that, right? So these are basically diseases, right? Spiritual diseases. These diseases are usually related to sex, right? So they either come from some form of sex or they're evolving sex, right? Now, the depression and the suicidal part, those spirits are usually linked to being depressed or coming from some sort of relationship. Like, these emotions are stemming from some sort of relationship or disassociating with intimacy, right? Now, the infections are usually generational, right? So these again are isolative spirits, and they usually manifest as illnesses that are related to like the skin or the blood, right? Now, although the diseases and infections can run rampant in both bloodlines, as stated, there is a distinction. Now, with the infections, right, a lot of people or scholars may say, that bloodlines become ill and they may pass off as mental retardation, autism, Asperger's, what's the other one? Down syndrome. There are several DNA related illnesses where a lot of these conditions, they really don't have a cause, right? These are usually infections where the bloodline is heavily disrupted, right? Or and when I say disrupted, I mean either the bloodline can become short, because most of the time, right, these are things that you can't really do anything about, right? And they don't really make room for the bloodline to be extended, meaning this person who has this condition may not, like, there's a more than 50% chance that they're not going to reproduce, right? Those are infections. Okay, those are spiritual infections. They're generally related to generational aspects where they may pop up in more than one vessel in the bloodline, or like I said, they are coming from situations, or they lead to situations, or just are connected to situations that are not curable, or they just have a lot of mystery around them. No one really knows like where these things are coming from. Now, some things that can be a symptom of both, right, of spiritual diseases and spiritual infections are like mental illnesses. It'll come up as mental illness, like chronic mental illness, or like chronic chaos, severe behavior issues, like not regular teenage rebellion or just the average things that we all deal with. I mean, things that are odd, unusual, and they actually normally start at ages that are before, the teenage years, right? Mainly just coming into that puberty area, okay? These are symptoms of both spiritual infections and diseases. Now, of course, this odd behavior can be a result of just being in the wrong environment and just having these genes passed down. In that case, it would be an infection. Now, you may wonder, how can we stop this, right? First of all, the Creator has a covenant or an agreement with every bloodline, right? And if the Creator is not saying specifically he wants a particular person related to 2 or more bloodlines to break chains over those families, or even if it's 1, but it's usually 2 because we are made of multiple bloodlines, but the core of us is 2 bloodlines, right? We have 2 parents. Those are bloodlines that are combining and they're creating portals, especially if a major assignment is due, meaning a curse needs to be broken, a covenant needs to be manifested, or if there's just some cycles that need to begin, okay? There's a lot of different ways to, go into this. And like I said, when you pay attention to science, the evolution of science, the medical field, the social field, the psychology field, it's all related, it's all intertwined, right? When you look at these things and you look at all these scholars, these reputable, credible researchers and, just doctors and people who are just really intelligent, and no one has figured out where some of these illnesses come from, it has to make you wonder, like everything has a root and a cause. So again, the Creator will make a statement without saying a word. And a lot of these issues are passed down until he says, okay, I've had enough of, taking this particular bloodline through certain channels. Let's do something new. Okay, and that's when the covenant manifests. Now, as mentioned, a lot of these things manifest into the physical, and another thing you can pay attention to, or you'll be able to make a distinction with, is a lot of the spiritual diseases that are linked to, sex. The person, or there will be a few where a lot of children are born with multiple parents. There will be a lot of nymphomaniac behaviors, stricken with sexual diseases and infections, poor hygiene, and this is with men and women. I think it's important for us to understand that not only women can have bad hygiene down there, men can too. It doesn't mean you have a disease. It doesn't mean you're dirty. Sometimes you're just not putting the right things in your body, and your hormones are out of whack, and your pH balance needs to be put back into alignment. That looks different for everyone, right? Maybe you're just stressed out and your hormones are causing you to have an odor. Some people sweat. Some people just have different physical symptoms that are related to, that are pretty much a byproduct of what they're experiencing spiritually, right? And they sometimes manifest down into the physical, okay? Now, a lot of these symptoms can be intertwined. Another one that is related to both. Now, what we just discussed was the ones that are sex related. Another one that is related to both is being reluctant to form emotional bonds with people. Now this right here is important to pay attention to because it limits the ability to strengthen or create, a new generation for bloodlines, right? And it also removes you from the activity pool as far as spirits. What happens is when you become isolated or you just don't want to get close to people, your ancestors do very little work in the spirit world, and it kind of forces you to kind of be isolated and there's no activity in the spirit. So what that means is you're starting to dull down the generational effects, like the bloodline. We all have things we have jobs to do, right, when we come here. So your bloodline will become poor. You'll start depleting the activity of the bloodline the more you are not doing what it is you're supposed to be doing. Granted, some people are here to cause hell and raise hell. I think that's also important for us to highlight and keep in mind. A lot of people don't have the same relationship with the creator in the spirit world, right? Every bloodline has a degree or a pedigree, and this is going to determine the heights that you can go in the spirit world and how that manifests down here. Now, you have some people that still inheritances, they still energy, and of course, this will allow things to appear that they rank higher in one way or another, but eventually you'll start seeing things like sickness and illness, no children being born. If the children are born, they're completely disconnected from the bloodline where they would start their own family tree, or they're just completely opposite, right? There's many different ways to look and tell, but you have to be spiritually in tune to even understand, the different perspectives and the different levels of spiritual warfare and just how the spirit world works overall. A lot of us have our own ways of seeing things, and that's fine, right? Those are gifts that the creator gave you, but there is a natural order of things when it comes to the spirit world, and we all have to abide by those rules. And if you don't understand them, then it's really important for you to not, go poking around in the realms that you don't understand. Like, you're not going to go 10 feet into the ocean if you're only 6 feet and you don't know how to swim, right? Your level of understanding is going to lead you to your ascension, and you won't be able to ascend until your understanding and your perspective is properly aligned with the laws. Now, when you get there, however you use those gifts, that's on you, right? But you can only activate to the level of your own understanding, right? Excuse me. But yeah, that's basically it. So it's important for us to understand there are byproducts to spiritual warfare, especially when you attack people that are not supposed to be attacked, or when you attack your own bloodline. These are some of the effects. Okay, we get diseases and infections in the spirit, but I'm gonna go ahead and leave it here. I do hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're drinking your water, eating your fruit and your vegetables, and sipping on your own tea because it is free. Hope y'all are getting your rest, and I hope y'all are excited because the babies are going back to school. All right, love y'all. Peace.